I've only gotten requests for one thing. One thing. And that is after I did the Batman the Animated Series review, people wanted me to review Superman the Animated Series. A lot of people, the people that left those comments and said, we want to watch, we want to hear what you think about Superman, thought that it was comparable to Batman in quality and everything. I hate to disappoint you, but not in my opinion. This was a show that even at the time when it was on, I would watch it because it was back to back with Batman. But whereas Batman had me glued to the screen, this would come on and I would not really be as invested. Now, I think I've made it clear how much I love Superman. And Superman is my favorite superhero. This, I think part of it is that Batman had the advantage of having never had his own animated series. Superman didn't have an animated TV series, but he did have the Max Fleischer cartoons. And those are such classic, beautifully drawn, beautifully designed animated shorts that this just doesn't equal that. It also, because it's Superman and not Batman, everything is very bright. It's Metropolis. It's not Gotham City. Not everything is those dark, deep, black, rich colors. Everything is very blue. And to me, that just is not as interesting in the way that they animated it. The show is actually really the closest that you're going to get to the comic in a lot of ways, because it has all of Superman's villains in it. It tells the origin story. That's the first couple episodes. But none of the villains really popped the way that they did on Batman. Clancy Brown is the voice of Lex Luthor, but nobody's going to mention Clancy Brown in the same breath as Mark Hamill and what he did with Joker. In fact, I remember Lex Luthor being kind of one of the more boring villains when an episode would come on, and I would watch it and I would just I didn't think there was anything interesting about the way that he was portrayed. He was just sort of a business guy and a genius and a bit of a mad scientist. But that's kind of all he was, and it just didn't. He didn't really. There's a series arc where it's Batman and Superman teaming up, and Lex Luthor and the Joker teaming up, and when you've got Mark Hamill and his Joker there next to Lex, Lex falls short. Ditto with they gave Lex a sidekick. Like they did with the Joker, hoping to repeat the Harley Quinn success. And while Mercy is fine, she never really jumped out at me as anything special. This is part of the TV universe that was going on from when Batman started up until Justice League Unlimited. And of all of those shows, I would put Superman at the bottom. He never really did have much of a rogues gallery. He's got, Lex Luthor, Brainiac, Parasite. But that's, then you start getting into like Toyman and a lot of characters that I never really cared about. I cared about Superman. It wasn't like Batman. Batman, I wanted to know who was the villain that week. Superman, I was watching for Superman. And they get him right. It's not that they don't. It's that, they portray, they drew him in a very 90s animated kind of way. He's this big guy, you know? And then he's Clark Kent, and he's still this big guy. And I can't help but always just go back to Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve made Superman and Clark Kent distinctly different characters, where you could kind of see how people didn't make the connection. Here, he doesn't even change his voice. He just puts on a pair of glasses and a suit, the same suit, every week. You at least get some Clark Kent doing reporter things in it, which is nice. Their Lois Lane is next to Margot Kidder is my favorite Lois Lane. They really do get her right. They give you the Superman universe the way it is in the comic. They give you Jimmy Olsen. They give you Perry White. They give you, that world that Superman and Clark Kent occupy. And it's just not as interesting as what they did on Batman. And I think it's just the format. I don't think the format lent itself in that way. It's almost like because it shares the same universe as Batman, so it has to have kind of the same aesthetic. That's what didn't work. Maybe if it had been free to be its own thing, it would have been something that I remember more fondly. But as it is, I'm going to give Superman the Animated Series 2.5 out of 5 stars. Not a bad show by any means. And I could put on an episode and watch it and be entertained enough, but I'm not going to remember it the way that I do what happened on Batman. And maybe that's an unfair comparison, since Batman is a towering achievement in the in animation, but
their worlds. Sort of gave myself the challenge of, okay,